Claire's hands tremble as she holds her phone. The message stares back at her. I can't stop thinking about you. Please tell me you felt the same way last night. Ethan. She looks at the text, her heart racing, but confusion outweighs the panic. Who was Ethan? She didn't know any Ethan. And what did he mean by last night? The scene cuts to Claire standing in front of the bathroom mirror. Her eyes, fixed on her reflection, search for answers. There's a crack in her life that she hasn't noticed yet, a fissure that will only grow until it shatters. Why is this happening to me? She whispers to herself while in the background the sound of the front door opening fills the house. It's Daniel, her husband, coming home from work with a smile she always found comforting. Until now. Claire. Donovan lives in an elegant apartment on New York's Upper East Side, surrounded by the comforts of a modern, well-decorated home, but marked by a silent emptiness. She's a woman dedicated to her family, yet she feels that something about her marriage has changed in recent months. Daniel, always attentive, now seems distant. Claire tries to ignore it, convincing herself it's just the monotony of routine taking its toll. The relationship between Claire and Daniel is portrayed as a careful dance. There's affection, but the intensity they once had is gone. During a typical dinner, their son Oliver excitedly talks about his day at school, while Daniel responds, mechanically, checking emails on his phone. Claire watches in silence, feeling like a stranger in her own life. The next morning, as she cleans the makeshift art studio she keeps at home, Claire finds a note tucked inside one of her sketchbooks. It's a handwritten reminder from Daniel dated months ago. Don't forget, you're my muse. You always will be. She smiles nostalgically, but quickly realizes how distant those words feel from their current reality. As she rereads the note, her phone vibrates with the first message from Ethan. At first, Claire assumes it's a mistake or spam, but something about the message, the way it's written as if he knows her intimately, makes her hesitate to delete it. The next day, Claire receives another message from Ethan. He asks why. She's ignoring him and mentions a meeting they supposedly had at a luxury hotel in downtown New York. Confused, Claire decides not to respond, but the doubt begins to gnaw at her mind. On a cold evening, Claire finally confronts Daniel about his absences and constant work trips. He answers calmly, explaining that work has been more demanding lately, but promises to take a vacation soon so they can spend time together. Claire smiles, but there's something in her expression that betrays her lack of trust. Meanwhile, Claire starts looking into Ethan, trying to figure out who he is. The name leads her to a social media account, but the profile is empty. However, there's a single direct message sent to her. Are you avoiding me because he found out about us? Claire feels the ground collapse beneath her feet. Could it be possible that she really had an affair and simply doesn't remember? She begins questioning her sanity, fearing she's losing control of her own mind. To make matters worse, Daniel notices the change in Claire's behavior. He tries to reconnect by planning a surprise dinner for her. Despite the thoughtful gesture, Claire can't stop thinking about Ethan and the mystery surrounding him. That night, while Daniel sleeps beside her, Claire looks at her phone. A new message appears. Ethan has sent a photo. When she opens it, the image shows a hotel room, with the dress Claire wore months ago hanging over a chair in the background. Claire feels the air leave her lungs as she stares at the photo. She remembers that blue dress vividly. It was a gift from Daniel. She wore it to a charity gala 6 months ago, a night that had seemed as ordinary as any other. But the detail that truly terrifies her is the setting of the room in the photo. It's not a place she's ever been, at least not consciously. Overwhelmed by anxiety, Claire spends hours revisiting her memories, searching for any trace of a connection to Ethan or the location in the picture. Nothing makes sense. The idea that her own mind might be betraying her becomes unbearable. Could she actually be erasing pieces of her own life? The next day, Claire decides to search for answers. She visits the hotel from the photo, located in downtown Manhattan. At the front desk, a young receptionist greets her. Pretending to be a customer inquiring about a reservation, Claire discreetly tries to gather information about Ethan or anything linking the photo to the hotel. The receptionist gives her a strange look but mentions that a suite was reserved under her name, Claire Donovan, exactly 2 months ago. The confirmation makes her stomach churn. Why would someone book a room in her name? More importantly, why does she have no memory of it? Before she can gather more details, a tall, well-dressed man appears in the lobby. He locks eyes with Claire. Something about his posture makes her instinctively step back. Could he be Ethan? Claire decides to leave the hotel quickly before he approaches her. Back at the apartment, Claire tries to act normal. Daniel is home and Oliver is playing on the living room floor with his toys. But her mind is trapped in the chain of events from the past few days. When Daniel casually asks where she's been, Claire lies for the first time, saying she was at a cafe with a friend. The lie feels like lead on her tongue. Late at night, unable to sleep, Claire returns to Ethan's messages. She decides to send a short reply. Who are you and why are you doing this? The response comes within seconds. You know who I am. You're just not ready to remember. From that moment, Claire dives even deeper into her search for answers. She combs through old emails, text messages, and social media. Anything that might offer a clue about Ethan or the gaps in her memory. In the midst of this obsessive investigation, she finds something alarming. A receipt for a lavish dinner at a restaurant she's never heard of. The date matches one of the nights Daniel was away on a business trip. Desperate to make sense of everything, Claire confronts her best friend Natalie about her suspicions. Natalie, a strong-willed woman who's been close to Claire since college, initially thinks Claire is overreacting. But when Claire shows her the messages and the photo, Natalie begins to share her friend's concern. You need to find out the truth, Claire, before this destroys you. However, Natalie also brings up a possibility Claire hadn't considered. What if Daniel is involved in this somehow? The idea seems absurd, but at the same time, Daniel had changed so much in recent months. He always seemed distracted, and his attention toward Claire had become increasingly mechanical. Could he be hiding something? When Daniel announces that he'll have to travel to Chicago again for work, Claire seizes the opportunity to dig deeper. Alone at home, she decides to access Daniel's computer. He's always been private about his devices, but Claire manages to unlock the laptop. What she finds turns her world upside down. There are emails exchanged between Daniel and a man named Ethan Rivers. Claire freezes as she stares at the emails between Daniel and Ethan Rivers. The exchange isn't long, but it's intense. Some of the messages hint at secret meetings and cryptic statements like, "Is she starting to suspect?" Or, "Everything has to be done cleanly. You know what's at stake." She feels the ground crumble beneath her. Not only is Daniel involved, but it seems he and Ethan are working together on something related to her. In the midst of her panic, Claire takes photos of the emails with her phone to preserve the evidence. After saving the screenshots, she continues combing through Daniel's computer. She finds an encrypted file buried in a hidden folder. Though she can't open it, the file's name sends chills down her spine. Project Claire. The next day, Claire tries to maintain a facade of normalcy as Daniel prepares for his trip to Chicago. He kisses her on the forehead and promises to be back by the end of the week. For the first time in years, his touch makes her flinch. As soon as Daniel leaves, Claire calls Natalie and fills her in on the latest discoveries. Natalie insists she go to the police, but Claire hesitates. She needs more answers before bringing anyone else into this. Determined to confront Ethan in person, Claire returns to the hotel where the suite had been reserved under her name. This time, she wears a simple disguise, a hooded coat and sunglasses to avoid being recognized. She approaches the receptionist and tries to obtain more information about the man who made the reservation, claiming he may have fraudulently used her name. The receptionist, wary, reveals only that the man provided an ID under the name Ethan Rivers and paid in cash. As Claire leaves the hotel, she has the unsettling feeling that someone is watching her. She looks around and sees the same man who stared at her during her previous visit standing across the street, discreetly following her. Claire's heart races. She quickly gets to her car and drives away, unsure of who he is or what he wants. That night, Claire begins having disturbing nightmares. She dreams of a dark room, muffled male voices, and an overwhelming sensation of being controlled. When she wakes, her heart is pounding. She realizes that something buried deep in her mind is trying to surface, but there's a barrier. It's as if her own memory is hiding something from her. Natalie suggests that Claire see a therapist who specializes in hypnosis to try to unlock repressed memories. Reluctantly, Claire agrees. During the first session, she experiences fragmented flashes, glimpses of a dinner at an upscale restaurant, the touch of a hand that isn't Daniel's, and a smooth male voice whispering her name. Claire, you're everything I've ever wanted. She wakes from the hypnosis in tears, confused and terrified. As she tries to process what she's uncovered, Claire receives another message from Ethan. This time, he's direct. You're starting to remember, aren't you? I warned you he wasn't who you thought he was. You need to know everything before it's too late. Meet me tomorrow night at the same place. Claire hesitates. She's on the verge of uncovering the truth, but she's also afraid of what that truth might destroy. She decides to go to the meeting, but not without taking precautions. She shares the time and location with Natalie, asking her to alert the police if she doesn't check in within an hour after the meeting. The following evening, Claire arrives at the designated spot, a small bar on a quiet street in Brooklyn. When she walks in, a man who perfectly matches Ethan Rivers' description is seated at a table in the back. He gives her a faint smile and motions for her to sit. I knew you'd come, he says calmly. Before Claire can respond, he continues. The truth is much darker than you can imagine, Claire, but you deserve to know. He used you, and I'm the only one who can tell you why. Claire stares at Ethan Rivers for the first time, and something about him deeply unsettles her. He seems familiar, yet like a complete stranger. Why are you messaging me, and what do you know about Daniel? Claire asks, her voice wavering between anger and fear. Ethan takes a deep breath, keeping his eyes locked on hers. Because he's not who you think he is, and neither are you. Before Claire can respond, Ethan slides a folder across the table. You need to see this. Inside are photos of Claire and Daniel together, taken at seemingly random moments, some from years ago. But what truly takes her breath away is that the photos don't just show her and Daniel. Ethan is in them too. He's always in the background watching. What is this, she demands, struggling to make sense of what she's seeing. Ethan answers calmly, my entire life has been connected to yours, and you don't even know it. Ethan reveals that he has known Daniel since before Claire and Daniel were married. They worked together on a confidential project, something involving the manipulation of information and people in high-powered positions. Daniel has a skill. He manipulates. He controls. He found you, Claire, because you were the perfect piece for him, but Ethan pauses, his voice trembling. I fell in love with you before you even knew who I was. Claire's fury erupts. This is insane. You're saying my life with Daniel has been a lie? That he chose me as, what, some kind of experiment? Ethan nods. It was more than an experiment, it was a means of control. He needed you to make him look more human, more trustworthy in the eyes of certain people. You're the centerpiece of everything, Claire, and he's betrayed you in ways you can't even begin to imagine. As Ethan speaks, flashes of memory start surfacing in Claire's mind. Moments when Daniel seemed uncomfortably perfect, as if he were following a script. The constant business trips, the excuses that never quite added up. Everything now felt like pieces of a dark puzzle. She recalls one specific moment years ago, when Daniel introduced her to a group of men at a party. They treated her with extreme deference, but what should have felt flattering now seemed ominous. Desperate, Claire demands to know what Ethan's role in all of this was. He hesitates before answering. I was plan B. If things went wrong between you and Daniel, I was supposed to step in next, but I couldn't go through with it. I saw who you really were, Claire, and I didn't want to be just another piece in his game. Ethan's revelation shatters whatever sense of reality Claire had left. She stands abruptly, ready to leave, but Ethan grabs her hand. Wait. I need to show you one more thing. He pulls a photo from his pocket. It's an image of Daniel in a meeting with a group of unfamiliar men. On the table in front of them is an open dossier, with Claire's name on the cover. Claire feels the world spin around her. Why is my name on a dossier? Why is all of this revolving around me? Ethan answers, because you have something he needs, something that could destroy everything he's built, and he'll do anything to keep you from finding out what it is. Now torn between the urge to run and the need to confront Daniel, Claire asks, and what exactly is he hiding? What are you trying to protect me from discovering? Ethan looks her in the eyes with an intensity that makes her shiver. What Daniel is hiding is you, Claire. He's erased parts of who you were, parts that could bring his entire operation crashing down. He's manipulated your memories, your life, your very history. Devastated and overwhelmed, Claire bolts out of the bar. Ethan follows her outside, shouting that she can't face Daniel alone. He's dangerous, Claire. He's destroyed so many lives already. If you confront him without knowing the full truth, he'll erase you again, just like he did before. But Claire doesn't listen. She gets in her car and drives home, her mind racing with questions and fears. For the first time, she's no longer certain of who she really is, or who Daniel Donovan truly is. Claire arrives home, still in shock, her heart pounding as the images of Ethan's revelations replay in her mind like a haunting movie. Her hands tremble violently, barely able to hold the key steady in the lock. When she steps inside, the apartment feels colder and emptier than ever. Every detail, every piece of furniture now seems like part of a carefully staged set designed to mask a colossal lie. She decides to confront Daniel immediately. Without waiting for his return, Claire grabs her phone and calls him. He picks up after a few rings, his voice serious but attentive as always. Claire, is everything okay? You sound upset. She tries to hold back her tears, but her voice cracks. Daniel, we need to talk. Now. I know what you've been doing. I know about Ethan. There's a deadly silence on the other end of the line, followed by a heavy sigh. Claire, you're confused. Who's Ethan? What are you talking about? But this time Claire doesn't relent. She shouts, Stop lying, Daniel. I saw the emails. I know you and he are hiding something from me. You used me, and I'm going to find out what you've done to me. Daniel remains silent for a few seconds, but his reply finally comes, cold and calculated. I'm on my way home. Don't do anything rash, Claire. We'll talk. She hangs up before he can finish. His tone was different, not the loving, concerned husband she knew, but someone controlled and worse, threatening. Knowing she's in danger, Claire rushes to Oliver's bedroom and finds him sleeping peacefully. She watches him for a moment, tears streaming down her face. How could she protect him from something she didn't fully understand? She grabs a small suitcase and begins packing a few clothes for him, planning to flee before Daniel arrives. Her escape is interrupted by a text message from Ethan. He already knows you figured it out. Don't try to run. You need to face him with the evidence you have. I'm on my way to help you. Claire feels the panic rising. She doesn't know if she can trust Ethan, but she knows she can no longer trust the man she's lived with for 12 years. Half an hour later, the sound of a key turning in the lock makes Claire's heart stop. Daniel walks in, his usual calculated calmness intact, but his eyes carry a different intensity, something dangerous. Claire, he begins, slowly removing his coat. I think you and I need to clear a few things up. He steps toward her, but Claire stands her ground. Don't take another step, Daniel, she says, holding up her phone, displaying the photos and emails she captured as evidence. I know what you've been doing. I know about the dossier, the hotel. Ethan, you've lied to me from the very beginning. Who are you, really? Daniel stops, watching her with an expression of exhaustion mixed with something darker. You don't understand, Claire. Everything I've done was to protect you, to protect both of us. If you'd known the truth from the start, you would have destroyed everything, and they wouldn't have hesitated to erase you. Claire shivers at the word Erase. They? Who are they? Daniel? Before Daniel can respond, the sound of hurried footsteps in the hallway interrupts the tense moment. The apartment door bursts open and Ethan appears, breathing heavily, his eyes locked on Daniel. It's over, Daniel. She knows enough now. Stop pretending. Daniel smirks, a cold, cruel smile spreading across his face. Ah, Ethan. Always. Second place, aren't you? Always the pathetic backup. The tension in the room is unbearable. Claire watches as the two men, who have somehow shaped her life, face off like mortal enemies. You lied to her, Ethan snaps, stepping closer. You used the woman you were supposed to love. You stole her memories and twisted them to fit your perfect little narrative. Daniel chuckles softly. And you think you're any better? You think she'd be safe with you? You knew exactly what was at stake. And yet you tried to sabotage. It all because you fell in love. Claire cuts through the air with her voice sharp and trembling. Enough. Someone tell me the truth now. Ethan turns to her, his expression heavy with pain. He erased your memories, Claire. You were an investigative journalist years ago. You were close to exposing a secret organization, a consortium that controls people in positions of power. Daniel was part of it, and you were a threat. To neutralize you, they erased parts of your memory and rebuilt your life with him, to keep you under control. Claire feels the air leave her lungs. She tries to speak, but the words won't come. Daniel steps forward, his voice tinged with anger. Everything he said is true, but it wasn't to hurt you, Claire. It was to save you. They wanted to kill you, but I offered another solution. I gave you a new life. You don't remember because you weren't supposed to remember. The revelation hits her like a crushing blow. Claire feels the weight of the truth. Her entire life has been a carefully constructed lie. I never had a choice, she whispers, tears streaming down her face. You stole me from myself. Daniel tries to approach her. Claire, please. Try to understand. I did this out of love. I did this because I couldn't lose you. Ethan, now standing between Claire and Daniel, shouts, Don't listen to him, Claire. He destroyed you. He used you, and he'll do it again if you let him. In a moment of strength she didn't know she had, Claire steps between the two men. Neither of you has power over me anymore. I'm going to find out who I really am, with or without you. Daniel, realizing he's losing control, begins to panic. You don't understand, Claire. If you dig too deep, they'll come after you again, and this time I won't be able to protect you. Claire stares at Daniel, her expression hardened. I don't need your protection anymore. I need the truth. With that, she grabs Oliver and walks out the door, leaving Daniel and Ethan behind, trapped in their rivalry and the lies they've built. In the hallway, Ethan follows her and hands her a small flash drive. This has everything you need to know, Claire. About them, about you, about Daniel. But the choice is yours. Dig deeper or walk away. Whatever you decide, I'll be here to help you. Claire looks at him, takes the flash drive, but says nothing. She walks away, determined to finally take back control of her life. Claire drives. Away from the apartment, the silence between her and Oliver filled only by the hum of the car engine. The boy, resting his head against the window, whispers, Mommy, are we running away? Claire tries to smile, but the ache in her heart won't let her. No, sweetheart. We're finding ourselves. She doesn't have a clear destination, but she knows she can't stay near Daniel or Ethan, or anyone who has manipulated her. She stops at a small motel on the outskirts of New York. Locking the door behind her, she watches as Oliver falls asleep, finally at peace, before she pulls out the flash drive Ethan gave her. Her hands tremble as she plugs it into her laptop. There are multiple folders filled with encrypted files, but one stands out. It's simply labeled Truth. Inside, Claire finds a video recorded by herself years ago. She hesitates but presses play. On the screen, a younger version of herself appears with determined eyes and a steady voice. If you're watching this, it means they got to you. They erased parts of who you are. But you need to remember, Claire. You were on the verge of exposing one of the most dangerous organizations in the world, the Consortium of Order. They manipulate governments, control corporations, and eliminate anyone who threatens their secrets. You were next on their list, but you survived. Trust no one. Claire pauses the video, her hands covering her mouth in shock. She wasn't just an investigative journalist. She had been on the brink of uncovering a global conspiracy. The pieces begin to fall into place. Daniel was the bait the consortium used to control her. His love was a carefully constructed illusion to silence her, and the life she thought was hers had never been real. In the midst of her mental chaos, she finds another recording on the flash drive. This time, it's from Ethan. Claire, I hope this reaches you. I never wanted to be part of this, but I was forced. Daniel is dangerous, but the consortium is worse. If you dig too deep, they will come after you. But I believe you're the only person who can bring them down. You have everything you need to expose the truth. You just have to decide if you're ready to fight. Claire spends the entire night wide awake, poring over the information on the flash drive. She uncovers incriminating documents, videos of secret meetings, and even evidence linking the consortium to devastating global events. But the decision ahead is far from easy. Exposing the truth would mean putting her life and Oliver's at risk again. On the other hand, ignoring it would mean betraying the woman she once was. The next morning, Claire makes her decision. She calls Natalie, the only person she still trusts, and tells her everything. Natalie, shocked but resolute, promises to help connect Claire with an independent investigative journalist who can release the information anonymously. If you're going to do this, Claire, you can't do it alone, and you can't use your real name. As she organizes her next steps, Claire receives one last message from Daniel. It's a voice recording. You can't run, Claire. They will always find you. Come home and we can pretend none of this ever happened. We can start over. I love you. But Claire realizes that this love was never real. It was just another tool. She deletes the message without responding. With Natalie's help, Claire sends the documents and videos from the flash drive to the independent journalist, ensuring the material is released without any trace leading back to her. The impact is immediate. A major expose reveals the secrets of the Consortium of Order, exposing politicians, corporate leaders, and powerful figures. The news sparks a global reckoning, leading to arrests and widespread investigations. Meanwhile, Claire and Oliver relocate to a small town in the countryside. She lives under a false name, rebuilding her life far away from everyone and everything. In a quiet park, she watches Oliver playing and feels a bittersweet mix of relief and sadness. She has sacrificed everything, her past, her love, her safety, to protect the truth and secure her son's future. Months later, Claire receives an anonymous letter. Inside, there's only one sentence. They're still watching you. Be careful. She burns the letter immediately, but the fear lingers. Even so, Claire knows she made the right decision. Ethan never contacts her again, and Daniel disappears completely. Claire assumes the consortium discarded him after the expose, but she tries not to think about him anymore. The man she thought she loved was, in the end, just a ghost. Slowly, Claire begins to reconnect with herself. She starts painting again, channeling all the pain and loss into her art. Each brushstroke is a reminder that even after everything, she is still the author of her own story. One day, as Oliver runs up to her with a drawing in his hand saying, he wants to be a big hero like Mommy, Claire feels tears roll down her cheeks. She smiles, hugging him tightly. He doesn't understand what happened, but she knows that everything she did was for him. Claire decides that she will never, again, be a victim in her own life. She has built something new, something real, even if it's small. She may never fully recover who she was, but she's learning to become who she chooses to be. In one final scene, Claire is shown in a makeshift art studio, finishing a painting. It's a self-portrait, but this time she's smiling. The camera zooms in on the signature in the corner of the canvas. C. Donovan. On a nearby table, a newspaper headline reads, Consortium of Order under international investigation. Fallout from revelations still reverberates worldwide. Claire looks at the newspaper but doesn't touch it. That battle belongs to another time. As the camera pans out, we see Claire holding Oliver's hand as they walk together toward the horizon. She has lost much, but she has gained something priceless, the freedom to live on her own terms. The silence is broken by a final voiceover from Claire. The truth set me free, but it also destroyed me. I may never fully understand who I was, but now, for the first time, I know exactly who I am. If this story resonated with you, let me know in the comments. What would you do if you found out your entire life was a lie? Or have you ever experienced something similar? Betrayal, or a secret that changed everything? I'd love to hear your thoughts. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more emotional stories like this one. Leave a like and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss anything.